Welcome to the Everyday Executive Woman, casual chats about real life as a woman and leader. The podcast where senior level women leaders share real life stories, struggles, and strategies to thrive personally and professionally. I'm your host, well woman executive coach, and brain rewiring expert, Lisa Michelle Smith. Join me for casual and candid conversations, relatable insights, and actionable guidance that will inspire and empower you to lead confidently, live healthily, and embrace your perfectly imperfect self. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast again today. I'm your host, Lisa Michelle Smith, and I am honored to have our guest for today on the podcast, Lori Walker. And Lori has been a business owner since 2000. She's currently the president of Atlantic Office Technologies and also owns and operates 3 other businesses in the local area, Norfolk and Chesapeake: AOE Rental, WHIP LLC, and I Pour For You. Lori was the president and board member of the Her Shelter for 8 years, an organization that provides resources and safe emergency housing for women and their children, and is currently a board member of Women in Defense of Greater Hampton Roads. Lori is a resident of Chesapeake, Virginia for over 30 years and is the mother of 3 boys, a wife, a friend, and an entrepreneur. And I have known Lori for many years, so really glad to have her on the podcast today. So, Lori, can you just share with us briefly a little bit about the Atlantic Office Technologies, what you do with the business and who you help with that, as well as how you're managing employees, or how many employees you're leading, managing, dealing with on a regular basis.
Okay. Well, hi, everybody. I'm thankful to be here on the podcast with Lisa. So Atlantic Office Technologies, we do everything that you plug into the Cat5 cable in your office, including running the cable to put it in your office. So that means copiers, phone systems, IT services, backup services. We do all kinds of compliance for DoD customers, for HIPAA customers. We do NIST 1-800. We are CMMC compliant, and we make our customers that way for people who need those kind of classifications. So if your computer is running slow, or you're having a network problem, or you're worried about getting hacked, or you're having any sort of IT computer problem, that's when you call me. So we do all of those things. We encompass it in a monthly bill, and lots of things go on behind the scenes that everybody doesn't get to see, but it's the things that we're backing up on your system. We're keeping the hackers out. We're doing phishing expeditions to make sure that your employees are not clicking when they shouldn't be clicking. So there are 10 of us at AOT. And there are 4 of us at AOE. There are 2 of us at WHIP LLC, which is the building that I purchased in Norfolk, the Atlantic Office Technologies rents to. And then I have I Pour For You, and that's just fun for me. So I Pour For You is lots of things. It's basically where I have fun. I teach pour classes, which is a painting technique. I get ladies together and we go out and do like Christmas wreaths on the stones for the man, I'm having a blank thought. Anyway, we do wreaths for veterans. We do things like go to dinner or go to Utah. We just recently went to Utah and went to the Zion National Park, and we walked the Narrows, which is walking through a river in Utah, and it is awe-inspiring and it is hard work.
You're actually treading through a river.
Up to my shoulders, basically. Yes. And some parts was only, as deep as my pinky toe. So it kind of ranged a little bit. But that was on my bucket list. That was one of the best things I've ever done.
Hmm. Well, that's interesting. So I'm curious. I wanted to stay with that for a minute. What did you get out of doing that? Why was it on your bucket list?
I thought it was a cool thing to do. And at 55, I wanted to be prove to myself that I can still do wild and crazy things. And I trained for about 3 months. My husband and I would get up at 6 a.m. and walk for 3 miles. And sometimes we would walk on pavement, sometimes we would walk across dirt, sometimes we would go like to First Landing National Park and walk through the sand and kind of drudged our way, kind of just get me used to, walking that far. We walked 12 miles in and 12 miles back from where we parked to where we walked. So it was long and it was hard, but it was so much fun that it was just, we stayed in a glamping site outside of the park. And it was nice because it had a queen size bed and a full bathroom, even though we were in a tent. So it's called glamping and it was a lot of fun.
Oh, that's great. So, congratulations on that, because that again, it sounds like something again that you planned for and you had to prepare for physically.
Yeah.
And you pushed yourself and your limits physically as well as probably mentally. And what would you say is the biggest thing that you took away from doing that?
Um, Probably that if I set my mind to it, I can do it. I mean, really, we went on oh man, maybe a 24-mile bike ride while we were there. And I enjoyed it so much. I came home and purchased the exact same bike I had. And I already had three bikes and I got another bike. So, yeah, so before it got too cold, I was riding 21 miles a day on my bike
Wow.
since September.
Well, good for you.
It's fun.
Yeah. Well, that's inspiring. Um, so I want to kind of get back a little bit into, your role as an executive woman, owning a business and leading, managing other people. First off, what kind of led you into starting this business and doing this kind of work?
Well, I started out when I was 16 and I was cleaning typewriters in high school classrooms. So I was 16. I had black, ugly fingernails from all the dust from the typewriters. So I started working for my dad, literally at the bottom, which was cleaning the typewriters. And I kind of worked my way up to answering the phones and then making deliveries and then working on typewriters. And then my dad was like, these things called computers are coming. We might not need typewriters for much longer. So we started looking into alternative things for us to do. So my dad had a little bit of copier background. So we found someone who had a small business of copiers and we joined forces. So in that we joined forces and then my dad retired and then I bought in. So it was me and Arnold Heath. And we started out in 2000, just the two of us. And then we kind of grew into an admin person, and then we grew into another copier tech, and then we grew into a second copier tech and a salesperson, and then another salesperson. And then I was kind of looking around going, you know, copiers might not last forever, right? So I started looking for an IT firm. So I went to a networking group that I believe you were in, Lisa. Networking 101 at Beach Ford.
Yeah.
So there I met Al Davis, and we got together a couple different times, and we kind of he actually moved into our building to make sure we worked together and everything went good, and then we kind of merged together with him, so then it was three of us. It was Al Davis, Arnold Heath, and me, and we were kind of the copiers are actually 50% of our revenue still. So they didn't ever drop off like I expected them to. So now we have two hubs. And now we also do phone systems and shredders and kind of, the office world kind of like evolved into everything that we can do for you.
So in that transition of, being 16 and, working for your dad and then becoming the partner, ownership, and then eventually is it just you now with the AOT?
No, Al Davis and Arnold Heath are still here. Um, AOE, I own 80% of, and that's still with Arnold. And then the whip is Arnold and I alone. So that's 50-50. So, and then I pour fumes on me.
Okay. And so as you started to get employees and need to manage them and then, play even a leadership role with them, what what did you find was challenging for you about being able to make that transition and learn how to lead and manage other people?
That was probably a little bit hard for me because I come from a queendom at my house where, I'm in charge. That's it. The bottom line stops with me. And I can be rough around the edges sometimes. Kind of, I think it is the way I say it is because I said so.
Mhm.
So I really had to adapt to having employees and letting them give a say so and kind of having discussions on certain items. Now, certain items, that's it. I put my gavel down, we're done. But I have to learn to listen to other people. Um, to get their thoughts and their input. And I recently, I don't, I guess it wasn't recently, but I went to a seminar and they were talking about, are you the owl? Are you the eagle? I think it's some sort of disc program. And the one lady was saying that it used to drive her crazy that her ex-boss would come in, get the job done, and leave. She would never say good morning. She would never say, how are you? She would never say anything. I started giggling because I'm like, that I used to be that way. Because to me, that wasn't important, but I had to learn to work with other people. It's important to them. So I had to learn to be more of a people person than I think I was. But I think I'm doing a good job so far.
Great. So what what would you say is the way that you're or style that you're tending to lead with now? If you could kind of describe it in that balance of how you've made that transition from being more sort of matter of fact and
Not
not
very much.
not talking much with other people about their needs and wants. uh, how do you feel like you are now? What's the style that you're using right now that you feel is more effective for you?
Um, we developed an open door policy. So if my door's open in my office, then they're welcome to come in and sit down and chat. We also have monthly meetings where everybody comes to the meeting. If you work for me, you're in this meeting, and everybody gets to say something that happened great to them during the month and something that didn't wasn't so great. And we kind of have to work through and like give some challenges on so this could happen, that could happen. It's more of an open forum now than it used to be. Um, you know, if you don't like something, you're free to stand up and say it. And I've never been like that before now, but um, yeah, I've had to evolve because I have 10, I have 9 other employees now. So I had to evolve into listening to them and seeing what they wanted. And I think just evolving and listening is the biggest thing.
Yeah. Well, I love that you start your meetings that way, everybody sharing something good that happened the week or a win. And but then you also have the opportunity for people to share what didn't work well and have some discussion about it so that everybody can learn from it and you can continue to improve processes. So I
Yeah.
love I
And
love that
nobody's
you're doing
mad
that.
or upset when that's going on. It's just kind of here are the facts. Let's figure out how to fix it next time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great because so many leaders or managers don't do that. And then what happens is people are just, complaining behind the scenes, but nothing ever really is is able to change because you're not bringing it to the people who can make the changes or come up with ideas about
Right.
how to improve it. So good for you for that, Lori.
Well, thanks. I'm trying.
So I'm curious, what does a typical day look like for you, starting from the morning, like when you're waking up and you're trying to, do what you're doing in the morning to get ready to go out to whichever business you're going to be at that day, and then through your day, and then kind of trying to wrap up your day and get back into your personal life. What is that looking for you like right now?
It starts out with a miracle morning at 6 a.m.
Okay.
So I read that book and I'm doing a really good job with my miracle mornings.
Great. And for those who know,
Basically,
I know what Miracle Morning is, but for those who don't and are listening to the podcast, can you just share what
sure.
Miracle Morning is?
So
There's step.
I wake up at a specific time every single day, even Saturday and Sunday, and I drink a glass of water and I hop out of bed. My alarm goes off. I get up. I stand up and drink my water. And then I go through some rituals that I do. I have a time when I sit and I write down kind of my thoughts for the day. I listen to a book or a podcast for 10 minutes. I do a little bit of breathing exercises and I try and do some stretches. So that's my miracle morning. Then I get ready and head to work. The first hour is emails. No one's in the office yet. And those who are have their doors closed and they're all doing the same thing I'm doing. Leave me alone. Read my emails. And then employees start showing up and my door opens and kind of finish my emails. And then we have a meeting with the sales department. And then from there, my day actually starts off with doing some marketing on LinkedIn, make some Facebook posts. I kind of review what I'm going to be saying for the next week. So I'm trying to stay a week ahead for my Cova Biz advertising. And I do a blog in Cova Biz now. So I'm trying to stay ahead of that. So I want to be a month ahead all the time. And then I would usually have a lunch date with somebody. It could be a current customer, it could be a friend, it could be someone I met at a networking event. And then I'm usually off to a networking event if lunch wasn't a networking event. So I do a lot of networking in a lot of places. I'm a part of some different networkings, like I'm in HQLL, which is High Quality Lady Leaders. I am also in Women in Defense, and I do the Hampton Roads Chamber, and I also go to um, Women's Division of the Hampton Roads Chamber of Commerce, Chesapeake.
Mhm.
I usually will stop in at the Her Shelter, drop something off, or shoot out an email. I'm currently doing Purse Bingo in April of 2025. So I'm working on that right now. That's part of my day, putting that together and getting the word out.
Yeah, that's
And
a really popular event.
I hope so. I love it. It's a lot of fun. Um,
Fashion purses like Coach and Michael
yeah,
Kors.
Michael Kors. I have some Kate Spades. I just ordered some Adonis and Burke. I usually try and get a Brahmin in there. I have Tory Burch. I just went to Vegas and got that one, so that was fun. I was there for the Formula One race, and I was like, "Oh, let me just pop in Tory Burch and see what they got." So I did that, and then usually probably chill for an hour or so, stop at a coffee shop or a Panera, and get ready for my next event. Usually events start at 5 or 6 in the evening. I try and make 3 a week. So I'm usually getting ready, heading there, getting there, and kind of getting ready to put networking together again.
Mm.
Then I get home between 7 and 8 and I watch General Hospital. I crawl in bed, I watch General Hospital. It's my time for me. And then usually I try and head off to sleep by 9 o'clock.
Right. Wow. It's a lot. So, you're leading your company and your employees, but you're also boots on the ground, still, networking and meeting people and driving new business.
Yeah,
to-
going to see my current customers. I try and get around to them
Mhm.
in November and December. I'm especially work hard on getting to them, and then I sprinkle it out through the year so that they don't feel like they're left out.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that. Staying in touch personally
Yes.
with them. So I'm curious, with all of that going on, what are some of the challenges that you face in having and creating that work-life balance?
I'm really good at work-life balance. I have been for a really long time. I raised three boys doing all this. So I think after having to deal with, work and then baseball and baseball and baseball, my oldest son was in usually two leagues and a travel league. My middle son did the same thing. And luckily, my youngest son wasn't interested. But I learned to make my calendar a direct priority. If it's in my calendar, I'm going to do it.
Mhm.
So when I was raising my kids, every Monday there was 3 hours scheduled from 9 to 12 for them to go to the doctor, the dentist, whatever. That's when it was scheduled. That's when we went. Um, and kind of learning to live by my calendar when my kids were little. So I schedule a lot of things out. I'm usually scheduled at least a month out for everything that I do. I'm starting right now. I just started. I made 3 events in February. So I live and die by my calendar. If it says 12 to 1, I'm going to be there at 12:50 at 11:50, and I'm going to stay. And really living by my calendar is the biggest thing. And I also take time during the month, usually about an hour, hour and a half. I'll get a massage just to kind of rejuvenate me and give me some time.
I love that. So it sounds like you've done a good job with creating that balance and you've got that self-care
Yes.
and also are you've got a system that you find works well for you. I
Yes.
love that calendaring, and as I'm working with my executive women clients, that's a big thing that I try to emphasize for them, right? Is move things from a to-do list to a calendar.
Right.
So you know what you've got to do, but if it doesn't get scheduled, it's not as likely to get done, or things cross over and then you're behind. But the other thing you probably find with this is, if you allocate a certain amount of time to a task, then you're more likely to stay within that amount of time, right? And not have it go
Absolutely.
beyond, where it really needed to be, or you're much tighter in what you're doing because you've only got, that time segment.
Exactly. I'm the person going, like when we have a meeting, we always have agendas in our meetings and they have scheduled times. And we're like,
Well,
that's enough for this subject. No, it didn't get settled. Well, we need to move on and we can come back if we have time. Because you just can't put it out there and say we're going to do this for an hour. I need more structure.
hmm.
And that's funny coming from me because I don't like structure, but at work, it's needed.
Yeah, I love that too, because I find that that's something also that's lacking oftentimes in, offices, is not having a clear agenda for the meetings. And then things, take longer, discussions take longer, and then people are, frustrated. You don't get to what you had planned to get to. Do you, when you've completed a meeting, is there somebody that has taken the minutes down, or written down who's going to do what by when, have sort of that summary of the meeting so that everybody is clear on what came out of it, and what people are supposed to be working on after that?
Pretty much, well, we give everybody the agenda, and then there's items on the agenda, and they're to write their name beside the task that they're going to take on. So I kind of put it back on employees to, make it be something that they need to keep up with and they need to look at. Just, I think it gives them a more sense of purpose when they've written their name down and everybody's written their name down. So everybody knows, Joe has to get this done by 8 o'clock. And if he doesn't, everybody is going to know he didn't. So that's the way I choose to do that.
Yeah, I love that. So it's clear who's responsible for what and also what the timeline is for completing that. So there's,
Yeah.
accountability
Right.
to that and everybody knows what that is.
Mhm.
So I love that, Lori. It's just, again, I find that so lacking either, with my executive clients, or sometimes I have clients who are not, in the executive realm, but they are talking about how their meetings are so poorly run and, people don't know what they're supposed to be doing when, and that
Right.
accountability, you know, is
A
not there.
lot of that came from my board experiences, being on boards and having agendas and, having discussion time. And then, you end at discussion time. And I'm really big on, okay, you get to talk now. Oh, no, your 5 minutes is up. Whatever the time is, I'm the person that says, your time is up. We have to move on. Because that's a pet peeve of mine to keep talking past your time.
Oh, well, it sounds like you've got a lot of really great processes, procedures, and like you said, structure in place. And that's why you're able to run for businesses, right? And you still have that time for the passion projects like the I Pour for You and, time with your husband, with your sons, and some of the volunteer work that you want to
Yeah.
do. Yeah. So the great example. I love that you've shared all these different tactics that have worked for you and the benefits that having them, gives you. Um, so we have a couple of minutes left. I want to go into some fun questions with you.
Oh,
So the podcast is all about, getting real, keeping it real. Executive women are people, right? And not just executive.
yeah. We're great people too.
Yeah. So, uh, if you could take an all expenses paid vacation to anywhere in the world, where would you
Oh,
go? And
hmm.
like, why would you pick that?
That's a great question. That's a great question. The
Something
only,
on your bucket list?
um, well, I would like to go to Africa and take like a river tour of maybe Zimbabwe, go into the Zambezi River. Um, some of that I would like to be in the river, and some of that I would like to just tour through. Um, but yeah, I yeah, that would be it. That would be it. I do a lot of the things on my bucket list. I got 3 things done this year.
Oh, what were they?
I went to Zion National Park and walked the Narrows. I went to a Formula One race. Um, and I went to Sanibel Island in Florida. It's a little tiny island, and unfortunately, it got destroyed this summer from the hurricane. But
Oh,
it's like you go back in time when you go there. Everything is original, and there's no chain restaurants. It's all local. There's no chain hotels. They're all small hotels. And when you walk that beach, you're going to find so many different kinds of shells. I'm not talking big conch shells, anything crazy, just the amount of shells on that island. We went and we were walking on the island. My cousin and I were there, and we were there at dusk, and the dolphins were swimming around, just there off the beach. And we had one who came, and he was coming straight for us, like straight towards the beach. And he was going really fast. And I'm like, he's chasing bait fish. So sure enough, he's charging at us. And we probably got 3 feet from the shoreline. He made a big motion, and then he turned and swam off, and he was gone. But it was so cool the way he was so powerful coming towards the shore and just made a quick turn and back out he went. So that was pretty cool. I see dolphins fairly often around here when I'm kayaking, but that was a really good one coming straight at me. That was pretty cool.
wow. Wow. Sounds like it. Um, so we're at our time to wrap up. What I'm curious, what's on the horizon for you in terms of the businesses that you're running? Do you have any kind of exit plans in mind, or are you still seeing yourself, for another 5, 10 years or so, working in business?
Um, Probably another 7 to 10 years. I'm 55, so probably another 7 to 10. We're in discussions to see, since there's three of us in AOT, kind of where everybody wants to be in 5 to 7 years. Do you want to continue to work? Do you want to retire? Do you want to not retire and have more vacation time? What does that look like for everybody, for all three of us? So, and that answer would predict what the other businesses are going to do as well. So right now, 7 to 10 years is kind of what we're talking about. We just started talking about it actually 2 months ago to try and figure out, it's time to look to see what we want to do for
Yeah,
the future.
yeah, great. Well, I've really enjoyed having you on the podcast today, Lori, and finding out even more about you than I've already knew from all the years that we've been connected. So thanks again for being a guest, and
Absolutely.
you,
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
yeah, you take care.
Okay.
Thanks for joining me on The Everyday Executive Woman. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe or bookmark this channel, leave a review, and share it with another executive woman who could use some encouragement. Remember, you don't have to be perfect to be powerful. Just be you. Until next time, keep grounded, keep growing, and keep taking care of you.